Something had shifted in the trunk. So we pull into the parking lot of the Bellagio to have a look. I pop the trunk. I remember quite vividly how the lights from the fountains played across her pale skin. She was stripped down to her underwear. Her face was pretty discoloured and swollen, and her mouth, hands and feet had been taped with bright blue electrical tape. I couldn't remember her name, but I knew who she was. It was one of Shizuko's girlfriends, the heavy drinker, the one who'd gone home with Barry the night before we left for Vegas. Only one of her eyes was closed. The other one was frozen open in this horrific blinking stare. I tried to tell Barry, but he simply wouldn't have it. He was beside himself with this fierce emotion that I'd never seen him express before. I traced back in time, trying to describe the scene outside the comedy club and how I remembered this very girl climbing into his car, and how I'd heard her giggling in the background when he called me that night to set the plans for Vegas. Barry just throws his hands up in the air dramatically and opens his mouth wide as if he's about to make some grand proclamation, like a character in a biblical story. Nothing comes out but a long, suffering sigh. I keep trying to convince him that we know this girl. And he suddenly punches me in the belly so hard that I vomit into the trunk and all down her legs. And it's then that Barry sees this tattoo that she's got. She's got this tattoo of a blue heron on her hip. Barry sees this. And he goes completely bananas. He kicks out the taillights of the car, takes a swing at me, and he makes this big fucking scene. I mean, this big, embarrassing fucking scene. Strolling about the parking lot, screaming at the top of his lungs like a maniac. And I'm thinking to myself, this is exactly the kind of behaviour we do not want to exhibit. If the cops turn up, here we are with a stolen car, $50,000 in a duffel in the back seat, and a dead Asian in the trunk. Now, I don't presume to understand the legal system, but I think something like that might be considered suspicious at the very least. So I decide to take charge of the situation.